Hello, hello, hello out there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Backyard Barbecue Podcast. I am your host, Eric Cool Breeze, and I have a guest with me, which I'll get into that a little later. But some of you probably have already seen her before. But just want to thank everybody for tuning in, giving me your feedback. I appreciate it. This morning, I had woke up to some disturbing news to find out that there's a missing report. So if you stay in the Chicagoland area, there's someone that's missing. Got They go by the name of Summer, and the person that they were seen with last was goes by Mother Nature. And we're just looking for Summer because Summer was here yesterday. And then when we woke up today, Summer was gone. And it's 58 degrees outside. Like, we want Summer back.
I'm not finna play games with you, Eric Cool Breeze. I'm sitting here like, word? Nature, Mother Nature is the name? Okay.
Yeah. We need you to bring her back. If you see Mother Nature, report her to anybody in Chicago. We'll handle it from there. We don't need no authorities or nothing like that.
Listen. She's like, I gave it all yesterday. Yesterday was beautiful.
Man, it was. It was actually been nice the last week.
It's been real good to us.
Yeah.
These last 2 weeks, we needed this rain.
Nah.
Let me be very clear. She's not watering the grass.
I'm okay.
So I need the Lord to do what it do.
I could turn on the sprinkler. I'm okay.
All right. Well, he got a sprinkler system. I ain't that rich yet. So I got
no sprinkler system. I got a sprinkler. The little one that everybody in the hood got to go.
Just go back and forth.
Yeah.
No, I want that one. I want the one to go.
I got that one, but it's not installed in the ground. They got it where you could just put the hose on the end of it and you know, kick it down with your foot.
Yeah, I need something that come with an app.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I need that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I could be away from home like, oh, yeah, let's get that grass done.
No, the only thing I got it for an app is a camera at home to watch them kids. That's about it.
And that, too.
So, Miss Tasha, you know, she's going to. Well, I'll let her introduce herself, and then I'll tell you all what she's on here for.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. As Eric said, my name is Tasha, known as LaTasha Scott, from my parents, and so I am the owner of Promised Land Foods and Catering, and I am also, I wear a few different hats, the creator and owner of Bourbon and Bonfire, which is an annual outdoor event, as well as Brunch and Bubbles, which is a now semi-annual women's brunching networking event that I host as well. And we're going to stop there for now. It's a few hats. Yeah.
Yeah, she got a few more, but, you know, I like to let everybody toot their own horn. So I guess she'll tell you all about whatever she wants to coming up. So one of the hats that I'll add to her is that she will now be with us once a month. And what we'll be doing is kind of a battle of the sexes, which we will eventually have another male. And we're going to do a dating perspective. So Tasha will be giving us some of her perspectives as a single woman. And I say single as in unmarried. And, you know, we will have a concept between men and women because in the dating scene, a lot of times, you know, how women see things isn't exactly how men see them. And sometimes you just need to have some conversations, you know, so that you can understand better as we have, well, I'm over 40. I'm not sure if Tasha wants to reveal her age, but...
Oh, she's 42 and proud.
Okay. So we're both proud. 42. So perspectives after, you know, when you reach certain age milestones are different than probably even the first time that Tasha was on here was 2 years ago when I first got this started. So even a perspective that she might have had 2 years ago that I might have had 2 years is quite different than what we feel right now. So to just put things into good context in terms of thoughts and reasoning behind dating, and why things aren't working, why this does work, then I figure we just have an open dialogue about it. So that's what Tasha is here for. So if you all have questions or comments or topics that you want to talk about, I'll be giving you all a specific email where you can email her directly and, give her all the feedback that you want. I didn't like when you said this, I loved when you said that.
Be kind, okay?
If you want it, if you're not kind, you could inbox me. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, you can handle all that. Don't come to me with no.
I'm built for that.
Yeah, no.
So, I guess we'll jump into, since we're, into the dating topic. So, what is life like right now? Are you dating? Are you, no, you're not married, but are you dating right now?
I am. I don't even know if I can say I'm dating, but I am in a thoughtful relationship currently.
Oh, thoughtful. That's quite mixed words.
Strong words.
Okay. Okay. How long has this been going
on? This is actually still very new.
Okay. So beginning stages.
Beginning stages. We are in our how is it broken down in school terms? We are in our
first semester.
We're in our first semester. Yeah. We're first quarter. Actually,
okay.
We're still in the first quarter. No, we're in the second quarter.
Gotcha.
We're in the second quarter. Yeah.
Okay. So this is okay. So he almost could bring the report card home by himself. Gotcha.
Yeah. He all on his own. Not switching up the letters or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
I haven't met this gentleman yet, but
no one has.
Oh.
Well, I take that back. My immediate family has.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, have to meet him. So how has this been going?
It's been interesting. As you stated earlier, perspective from 2 years ago has definitely changed. I've been telling my girls that it's easy to say one thing when you're not in it, but when you're in it, and you have to put those things to practice. So I'll give a deeper example.
Yeah, we're here for the examples.
I understand. So it's easy to say you're healed when there's nobody there to trigger the things that you think you're healed from.
Right.
It's real easy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm healed, and you can even ruminate on past things that have taken place or things that were said that were possibly hurtful or just bad overall. And when you think on those things, you may not even feel a way. It doesn't make you grunt your teeth and you don't feel a angst, anxiety in the pit of your stomach. You may not feel a single thing. But it's when you have to share that personal space with someone. And
right.
You're like, well, what's that? What's going on? And then you start getting those angsts and those little triggers and those things that make you go, for a lack of a better term. And so it's easy to say you're healed when there's nothing there to trigger it. So I guess I'm encouraging others, but as I encourage myself through this walk and the other individual who's in this walk with me, to be patient with yourself, but to be patient with each other, because you guys are learning how to now be healed and not be toxic and all these things. And it's things that we do that are toxic that we do not think that are toxic.
Glad you brought that up, because I was just waiting for you to finish your
go for it.
Your comments. But what's the most toxic trait that you feel that you possess that
all right. Well, they always say
we talked about this, don't we
have. No, it's all good. It's all good. Listen, I like to tell people, we could pray and be like, that person did this, God get him. No, he gonna deal with you first. So my most toxic trait, I think I can be passive aggressive. And I have had people point that out to me, and I did not believe it, was highly offended. Like, how dare you?
Right.
Like, be passive aggressive all day.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it too now. I can see now.
So for the people, for the audience that doesn't know what that might necessarily look like, what does it look like? Is it more so of a situation of letting an individual run over you, or you just not speaking your mind enough about things, or just letting things blow under the water? Like what?
All of the above.
Okay.
So passive aggressiveness is speaking your mind, but low-key being nice nasty about it. You know, which is where that aggressive piece comes in. It's just like...
You crashed my car, but it's okay. We'll just pray about it. It's going to be okay.
I don't even know if we gonna pray about it. Like, you crashed my car. Like, right. And then in somewhere in that, you're gonna get a little bit of sweetness, but you still gonna hear it. And then you can feel the energy. You can feel the heat seething off someone. Like, dude, you are not okay. Like, you are legit upset. You're pissed.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, even for a lot of men, how it can be a kind of a battle for a man, because when you're dealing with a woman, you really kind of want to be not so, rough and tough. Yeah. But at the same token, you don't want to be so soft where the woman feels like you're not, I guess, alpha male, because I call the non-alpha beta males. So beta males, they're not as aggressive, and being aggressive isn't necessarily just, hooping and hollering, oh, you go do this, you go do that, it's just kind of, hey, I said what I said, like, we cool, right? Like,
no, we're not cool. You can say what you want to say all day, but there's still a conversation that may need to be had now.
And that's true. I definitely believe in conversations, whether they turn out good or not. Actually, that's one of the things I mentioned to Tasha last week when we were talking. I said, hey, the basis of my podcast is to, among the Black community, is to let people know that it's okay to disagree about topics and we still can be cool. Mm-hmm. We don't have to, I'm probably not going to agree with a lot of things that people say on here, but, because I just think different, but we still going to be okay.
We still gonna be okay.
Like, and if for some reason y'all think that we fell out on here, just know that it's,
never that.
Yeah. Like, we might argue, I don't know what's going to happen, but, we'll have some disagreements, I'm sure. But it's all good at the end of the day, yeah. That's what we need to do just in our general society, is just to learn how to agree to disagree. And then we can go into relationships, whether they're with business partners or sexual relationships, in a better light.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say was your strongest suit?
So I'm going to say listening.
Okay. I
am an avid listener. And I'm not just saying that because that's what I think. That is what I've been told. Probably too well. Like, you remember that? I talk too much. I've heard that a couple of times. I'm like, no, you don't talk too much. Like, it's good. You're comfortable. You're honest. You're saying what's on your mind. But I am a really, really good listener. I've mastered the art. And I had to learn this in my close circle of girlfriends over the years, that you're not really listening if you're already concocting the answer or the response to the person. You have to truly just listen and not be ready to speak right on key, even if you think you have the right response. It's just simply just allowing what that person said to truly process into your bone marrow, almost.
Right.
And just like letting it filtrate.
Yeah.
And just allowing the thought to say, okay, even if I disagree, I can actually empathize with you now. Like, really empathize with where that person is coming from, regardless if you're the same sex or the opposite sex. But that only comes by way of truly mastering the art of listening.
Yeah, I feel like listening is the only thing that humans are not able to multitask with.
You can't.
Because it's like listening, you have to give it your full attention. I mean, even you think back in school when you're listening, your teacher, if you're looking in the other direction, hey, pay attention, sit up, like all of those things are triggers, I feel like, to you listening. So, you slouched over, now your body's thinking like, man, I'm ready to go to sleep. Like, oh my God, this is so boring, and it's just the one thing that you have to actually devote your full body energy to, just listening to what the person is saying. And sometimes hearing and listening are two separate things as well.
Yes.
Because my mom used to tell me that you listen with your ear, you hear with your ears, and you listen with your heart. And when you listen, like you said earlier, you can begin to empathize. It's not to say that, and maybe the person is explaining to you something, and maybe they were still in the wrong, but you can empathize with their thought process at the time.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you're wrong. However, I do understand what you're saying and how you got to that conclusion.
Absolutely.
But we'll just be clear that you still was wrong,
Or I can be clear all by myself,
yeah,
depending on where they stand.
Because actually yesterday we were out and at this bar in South Chicago, and there was the bathroom was like in a weird place anyway. So on the door, there's the sign, and it has the handicap accessible. And so I saw the sign and I went in, but when I washed my hands, first off, when I looked around, I was like, there ain't no urinals in here.
No.
But I had just went in there to wash my hands, so it wasn't no big deal.
Right.
And so when I was washing my hands and I looked up, I saw that it said like ladies den or something, or it wasn't ladies den. It was something like a soft connotation to a woman.
Right,
den.
letting you know you were in a woman's
Right, I was like,
restroom.
okay.
My bad.
So
Yeah.
there was another guy that went in, and then Candace had went in. I guess the guy was in there. And so she was like, right on the door and on the wall, it says, whatever den. And I'm like, as a man, you're not, we saw the sign that said handicap accessible. And so after that, I'm not paying any attention to anything else because my mind is one track. Like I saw the sign. The sign said I could go in here because it didn't say women; it just said handicap accessible.
Right.
So I'm going here, wash my hands,
and then or somebody who needs assistance.
And as I'm looking around,
access.
I'm like, oh well, I guess this wasn't the one, but I'm already started washing my hands now, so we can, go ahead and finish this.
We've arrived.
And if anybody comes in to ask, then I'll just explain to them that, hey, I thought it was the men's washroom because you got this handicap accessible.
My sincerest apologies.
Yeah. So it was, just even that, like. She told me, she said, oh, okay, I understand how you could, think that. But it still does say the ladies den. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I just needed you to understand what a man is,
What I saw.
Yeah.
In my spectrum.
and the man that's in there on the toilet.
Right, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this.
Yeah.
Literally.
And so it's so many, different topics for conversation when it comes to, I guess, how life is seen in the eyes of us versus you all,
Yeah.
And I know for us at our age, like my parents, they didn't have, like sex talk and stuff like that, and how to date, and so. And I think that generation, in terms of our parents, I think a lot was lost, in terms of communication and things to say, things not to say, how you're supposed to act, because they came from a lost generation in a sense because they were acclimated to coming out of slavery and all of that. So, they were on the brinks of just getting good jobs, and, get you a good job and the benefits so you can retire in 30 years. And so, it was work. And there wasn't a lot of, time for conversation. And I think now that we're on the brink of more, quote unquote, awakeness, then,
definitely,
we're like, hey, why do these, problems exist? Why are we having a problem with this? And it all comes down to us communicating. And in terms of, families, hey, it starts at the dating process. Like,
it does.
So
It does.
my next question is, let's see how I can put this. So what brought about your previous failures in relationships? What do you say was the biggest factor that you contributed to?
Willingly ignoring the red flags.
Mm.
And I use that willingly piece like with emphasis behind it.
That's on my number one list for people in failed relationships.
Yep, just ignoring them, refusing to believe that they are the
person that they showed you.
That they are showing, because it's hard to believe. Like, you really want to walk around and be a piece of, like, and you're treating people like crap, and you just leaving a trail of crap behind you everywhere you go. And that's really hard to conceive, especially when that has not been your surroundings. When you're kind of nurtured from family, and then you have these nurturing friends and, jobs and people you come across are, for the most part, fairly decent, hardworking people. So when you encounter someone you want to have a relationship with, and it's hard to pick up on those subtleties, like, oh, they playing. Like, they're playing with me physically, they playing with me emotionally, like, they just playing. They're not here for the long haul. They're saying all the right things, but
okay,
none of their actions.
Let's stop there. So you said it's hard to pick up on that they was on bullshit.
It was for me. It was for me. It was really
So
difficult.
when did you see the red flags? After?
All the way to the end. And then some. Like, it
so
wasn't
you saw
until
the red flags,
reflect.
but you chose not to think of the person like that.
Because I truly believed that there was better there. But I had to learn that even though there may be better there, it doesn't mean that it's my place to bring that out in them. They have to want that for themselves. And so this was a mindset shifting for me, even as I entered into my 40s and became more serious about dating and my relationships and wanting to be married and have family. I had to ask myself, well, how serious am I if I keep letting these same cycles happen over and over again? And what am I really drawing in? What am I attracting? So there has to be some ownership.
Yeah, because I believe that the reason why women pass up red flags is because you all are nurturers by nature.
Of course.
And so you all want to fix everything.
We want to fix it. Boo-boo, you hurt. Let me fix it.
Yeah, it's the natural
no.
just motherhood in you. Even if you're not literally a mother, like, women are built with motherhood traits. And so, even some of the ladies that work here, last week we went out to dinner, and my little son, he's sitting up there and he's all sad and stuff. I know why he's sad, because it's been like 12 hours and he has not had an electronic device to latch on to. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Mm-hmm. I'm like, he okay?
What'd you say? You fine?
Yeah.
Man up.
Yeah. Because you looking with a sad face don't really affect me.
It is not meant to.
Yeah. I think earlier that week, he was at home with me and he kept walking past the kitchen, and looking at the counter, open the refrigerator. He look at me. And then walk back to the room. And this happened.
Not the dramatics.
Yeah. This happened
literally
about 12 times.
Right.
But I'm not the one that I'm about to ask you, are you hungry? You know you hungry.
Speak up.
Yeah. And so then he called Candace, and Candace like, well, where's Eric at? He's right here. So I told him, I said, now look, you had to still come back to the same spot that you could have been got fed 20 minutes ago. And guess what? I had already ordered him something to eat, but I just wasn't going to give it to him because he didn't say nothing about it.
I'm not with you. It's I already ordered something, but I ain't going to give it to him until he say something.
No. And you know
but
why?
You taught him a valuable lesson. You did.
And, one thing that I found out with... And again, you all can't help certain things because you're just nurturers. But when you have sons and then they're young, and don't get me wrong, because my mother, she did everything that, I needed her to do and more, Now, I told my boys, I'm not about to do all that for you because it didn't help me. Like
he was like, listen.
Yeah, it helped me.
I had the
time.
good life.
Yeah, it helped me at that time, but it really restricted me and made me handicapped in a sense because I was able to depend on her too much.
Okay.
And so then you do these sons like that, and then the same men that you complain about that's out here,
the ones you
breed them.
Yeah.
So you do all this for this boy where he walking around, and oh, you hungry? Yeah. And the yeah voice just goes from yeah to him being 30 still in your house. Yeah. Yeah, Ma, when you going? So then you get him.
Jesus, no.
You get him, and now he walking around, still opening up the refrigerator. Looking at you, and you wonder, you looking at him like, is this something wrong?
I'm looking because she wants to dine out, darling. I cook for the people. That's probably the last thing I want to do.
So, back to my original point, which is, women are nurturers. So a lot of times you all see red flags and you don't address them because you like, oh, I can fix that. I can.
And can I say this? It's not even a forethought that we immediately go in wanting to fix it. You look up and honestly, you're just fixing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of like walking by and seeing a burst pipe. You're not just going to let the water keep leaking. You going, oh, shoot, let me grab a mop.
Yeah.
It's just natural instinct. Like, let me grab a mop. Okay, I'm not finna fix no pipe, but I'm going to call a plumber.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some assistance and some backup on this.
And I'll say that there's nothing wrong with that, quote unquote spirit, but don't be for the right people.
It doesn't be for the right people at all. You pour all that out and have zero return. Everybody likes a return on their investment. Stop lying. You do.
And then you be tired by the time, like I told my oldest son, I said, she just turned 21.
EJ.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yes, I heard.
Oh yeah, it was that's another podcast.
Okay.
But I told him, I said, when you get to a point where you're serious about what it is that you want to do, then I'll help you with whatever you need. Mm-hmm. Because what I don't want to do is to keep helping you with things, and when you finally get to the thing that you really want to do and you need my help, I'm done. Because
I've given it all.
And so that's how it be with relationships. You keep giving to these, nobodies, and then by the time that the guy that really wants, that really wants you come around, then you're at wit's end, and so you're trying all type of stuff. Oh, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing that. I want
to speak to that.
Okay.
Because this is real life happening right now. And I am finding, because I'm tired.
Right.
I have given it all out to the wrong people. So now I have to tap into a reserve I didn't even
know
I had. Fault. It's not. And let me that was the first thing I said to him when we had our first phone conversation. Mm-hmm. And there was an exchange. I'm not going to go through what the exchange was, but there was an exchange of him vetting, the vetting process, right? And it was the first phone conversation. First, actually, not even a phone conversation. It was a FaceTime, which is real. It used to be intrusive to me. Like, wait, hold up. But now this is what people are doing. We FaceTime because we need the connection, the immediate connection. And so it was a FaceTime conversation, and the vetting process was happening. And as I disclosed the thing, it was stated like, oh, so I'm immediately X'd out. And I said, no, I'm not going to hold you accountable for what the last one did. And I have to be intentional about that, which means I will need for you to be patient with me, because I know right now I'm telling you this, but I don't know what that looks like for me. Mm-hmm. Haven't done it before. So you still want to keep talking? We still here.
Yeah, I mean, because, for a man, it's frustrating like you, and, I'm, for those of you who already watched the show, if you're a newcomer, then hey, this is me. This is what I do. But
Brother Eric,
like a lot of women, you got 6 kids, and now now you want to be, I'm saving myself for my husband. If you don't set that little coochie out, like you didn't got
Eric.
6 kids now.
Okay. What if you only got one?
Hey.
Hey.
Do you got one and then you stop then?
No.
Okay, well,
nothing. Nothing. Listen.
Hey.
Listen. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, I'm hearing a good girlfriend in my ear where she'd be like, I ain't telling nobody to do whatever. However, the word is what the word is. And so at some point, there's some spiritual maturity that takes place, I believe, with some women. And you men may very well get it confused. I'm not going to say twisted, but just get it confused that now you're being penalized because now we want to exercise that spiritual maturity after making the wrong decision of maybe being a little generous in past time.
A little generous.
Not that generous. Let's be very clear, but generous and might not have even set a standard. And not even knowing that that there was a standard to set. And not saying that she was just out here, just whatever, but maybe after 2 or 3 months and there's still no commitment, but now we're just in a position where it happened,
okay,
because it's 2 to 3 months in. So what else
I got
is
a lot
there
of
to
questions
do?
when it comes to this subject.
Go for
it. So is this celibacy until marriage?
Absolutely.
Okay. So second question, follow up. There's not too many things in the world that we go and we don't get samples before we purchase or, think about getting. So sex is a very intricate part of any relationship.
It's very important. I'm not going to act like it's not.
Okay. So what happens if after you get married and then you've done, all of the homework and, you're in this great space, that's didn't involve sex and then the sex was trash.
So this is now my education to the world. Hello, world. Initially, sex was created between man and woman. I'm not going to get into the politics. It just is what it is, okay? It was created for man and woman, and it was created for man and woman to enjoy under the covenant of marriage. Had we as a people stuck with that, we wouldn't have anything to compare it to, and we wouldn't have this anxious desire to want to have something that we shouldn't have had in the beginning. But since we are these spiritual
There's
people
apples
having
and
this,
bananas, Tasha. That's like saying if we weren't enslaved, then we wouldn't be.
It's not apples and bananas, and I'm gonna tell you why.
I'll get to the question is what you gonna do if the dick is whack after you got married?
So this is the thing. You better get on your hands and knees just like I did, and I have prayed over my husband's sex life and mine. I had to take that to the Father, the one who created it. I have no shame in saying this out loud and for the public because there's that thought, there's that mindset. Because we've all been out here living our best life, doing our own thing. So for me, making a decision at 40, happy time is over until the appointed time. That's where I'm at. And any man that wants to be with me is going to have to understand that walk. Now, my God that I serve, I believe he fully understands what that walk looks like. Therefore, there is a man out there that is going to be familiar with that walk and willing to walk that walk out for me. I do not believe that walk is for everyone. It's not, because if it was, everyone would be doing it, especially if it were easy.
I know it
Let's
ain't
be
for
very
me.
clear. Listen, it wasn't for me for a minute. Look, Ava is here. Okay, so there's evidence of that. And so not perfect, definitely flawed, but my spiritual maturity is now in a place where it's heightened. And I see the importance of it, especially after so many failed relationships. How much more am I going to physically not even take my body through, but take my mind through? See, this is where men and women are cut from obviously 2 different cloths. But women carry that emotional baggage a little bit more deeper than men. And I'm not going to say that they don't carry any of it. Just how we disperse of it is different. So we have to be mindful of that.
Well, like the segment says, food for thought. I know I just can't be.
Listen, I know your wife.
Yeah, but I mean, just me as a person, like I just can't see because it is such a big part. Like it would be different if it was like I was raised in religion, so I was raised a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. And so they believe in the same thing. No sex before marriage, you know, you go out on dates, you have a chaperone, you know, all this stuff.
Oh, Lord, I don't know if they practice that in Christianity.
Yeah, you're not even supposed to be alone with the person of the opposite sex, you know.
Okay.
On and on and on. So, in my mind, I just was thinking like, man, you know, like, this is like a big part, like, you know. And when I had thought I was gonna come back, you know, and I had 2 kids already, you know, so I'm like, you know, I didn't hear some whack kitty cat before. I'm like,
Jesus,
I just can't see like living forever with this whack kitty cat. Like I have to be able to see what this is gonna be like, you know, because I hear the prayer and everything, but we be praying for a lot of stuff around here, like, you know.
I get it, and
they
you may never
be getting their lights
it.
cut off, and they still be getting their gas cut off. Can't get the job still, you know. But you know, and that's why I just can't hinge that on that. That's just
so. With all of those things comes also a level of wisdom too. And so, if you were in a position,
do you actually see a pic at least? Like, do you?
Eric.
I'm just saying. I mean, because that's like a double whammy. Like, you know,
there are no pics.
The wedding
around,
night
okay?
is like.
Listen. The conversations that go forth are those that are conversations of mutual respect. Mm-hmm. So it's not such a shock. And so I do believe that even if you're practicing celibacy, there still needs to be conversation that at least in the mind of that man and that woman, you know what the boundaries are, like what you're going to do, what you're willing to do. Even talk about maybe the few experiences you've had. So there's an understanding of, okay, he gets it, you know, or no, he don't. He gonna need a little help, or she may need a little help.
After not having none for so long, it shouldn't be like nothing. See, that's another thing. Like so I waited for let's just say it take us 3 years to get married. So I waited for 3 years, and now we got boundaries as to what we gonna do. And
there should be none. Nothing should be kept when it's in that covenant. I believe that is that place is very sacred. Have fun. This is one of the benefits in the kingdom. I'm not going to be shy about it. We're talking about sex, and we're talking about at least the God that I serve that had a son of Jesus Christ is the name, okay? Let me be very clear about what God I serve. And in that, if he created it, and he created it for the purpose of, you know, to procreate and, you know, keep creating life, there's some pleasure and there's some enjoyment in that. So there shouldn't be any shame. There shouldn't be any boundaries. There shouldn't be, you know, any of those things. Now, granted, there's some weird stuff taking place out here right now. Like, we are living in a time where some of this stuff can get you hurt and end up on that little show, Sexton Landed Me in the Hospital, because you out here doing the absolute most.
Right.
Which, look, to each his own, but it shouldn't have to take all of that to where you're ending up in the hospital because you know, them penetrated your mind with so much foolishness that you can't even enjoy the person that's before you. I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine, opposite sex, and he was telling me about a few of his escapades, if you will, and he was just like, you know, I'm just to a point where I'm over it. Like, these women done play with so many toys. It's whack.
I embrace toys. It's so less work.
I'm just saying. and I'm just saying, like, to each its own, but I just believe that once you have those conversations and you have those, you know, the open dialogue, you understand your mate verbally before you can understand them physically, I think will serve a lot of people.
And just to go back a minute about what you was just saying about the guy and the toys, you know, for men, and that's why I enjoy having, if you all have never watched the episode with Dr. Chris, that's why I purposely wanted to recruit her for the show because, especially for men, because men, we have a one-sided view of what sex is in terms of us and the woman. And so, because it is one-sided for us, it's like, hey, I'm horny. Let me get that, and then it's over with.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't come.
Very physical.
My bad. Whereas she teaches that there are, so many different variations to stimulating a woman that do not involve actual penetration. And as men, we need to be taught that. Like I learned a few ways before. I even met her just, because Candace and I talk a lot, but for most men, they don't know that, and so when you have to think in terms of why the woman is even using the toy,
that part.
Maybe because every man thinks he's the man,
Every man.
But we not. Like that toy is the man, but you need to know yes. why the toy is the man. I mean,
you need to understand why is that the preference.
What does that toy do, and how does it stimulate? Because if you just going in there and you just, hey, same thing, turn over, let me hit it from the back, put your legs up, and then that's it, then of course she gonna have toys, and she probably got another dude off to the side too, or two, and I'm just keeping it 100 with you,
This is what's happening out
there. And if you a man listening, hey, I'm a man. You already know the guy, he ain't about to say nothing. He cool. She call him over there. Hey, you do what you do. And you send her back home, is no, attachments. You ain't got to take her out to dinner. It's another piece. So you cool. Mm-hmm. But if that's the person that you want to be with, then you have to, like the segment that she did. Well, actually, her entire segment is called Sex Beyond Orgasms. No, Orgasms Beyond Sex. I'm sorry. And so it's just the feel of all type of things, because my next question to Tasha was going to be, so what if after all of this, and I don't want to jinx it, but this is a question, I ask questions for the people. So what if that first night is just like, oh my God, I waited all this time.
Okay.
What's the scripture in the Bible say? My Lord, why have you forsaken me?
Oh, stop. Well, I
prayed about this.
Well, listen.
It's not enough.
Well, look. Listen. I do believe, like the scripture said, God will give you the desires of your heart. And moreover, I am the apple of his eye. And so me being his daughter, created like from a speck of dust, from a part of him, then mm-hmm. I am going to get exactly what it is that I know that I need. I really don't even fret that much about all of the interaction and is it going to be this, that, and the other. I'm sold out to Christ, mm-hmm. and I believe that I will have Ephesians 3:20 for those that know, which is exceedingly abundantly above all I can ask, think, or imagine. Okay. And so with that, if I trust him in the regards of my relationship, my friendships, my businesses, my finances, if I can trust him with all of those things, I would now be a fool to not trust him with picking the right mate for me and being able to deliver.
You be asking him to wear them gray jogging pants?
What's wrong with you, Eric?
Hey. She trying to see some, y'all. She trying to see a print or something just to Lord, it's just a sign, Lord. I'm just gonna ask him. I really like these gray jogger pants on him, and this will be your sign for me. She even, if y'all could see, she even asked me to give her that gray microphone because it was.
I did not ask for that. You better stop. Oh my gosh. No. So listen, we don't need no gray jogging pants. I'm just convinced. I'm convinced that when that time comes, I will be happy, he will be happy, and all will be well. I'm just convinced.
Okay.
I'm convinced. And more than anything, I'm confident.
Okay. So, and what would be your advice in these for somebody who goes out today and they meet somebody that they vibe with real good at the bar, and now they're talking to them? What would be your beginner's choice of advice as to the beginning part of this dating thing? Because we're gonna start from there in this segment, the beginning parts of dating.
So to answer your question, it was recently posted on Facebook through a friend that I follow. His status, he posted the status, and he was like, "Some of you women complain about there not being any good men out there, when in reality, you really need to respond to those DMs." And I laughed so hard on the inside because my only response was #facts. It is how I met the gentleman I'm dating now, which is very interesting because I was negative to the DM. Like, do not direct message me. I don't know you. I don't, like, negative. Like, don't want no parts of that. And it has served me well. It has served me well in a short amount of time. It has served me very well just to simply be gracious, just to simply be kind. You know, it may not be a match made in heaven. You may never even hear from the person again, but it doesn't hurt to just simply be nice. I mean, we give so much for so much less. What's the harm in responding to a DM? So I would encourage singles, respond to them DMs. Respond. And this is for someone that never, years since the gram was invented, would get stuff and leave it on red, as the kids would say. Like, just never responded because it just seemed weird to me. He caught me on a good day. What can I say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Still initial conversations. What would be requirements?
Non-negotiables, still for me, your faith. You just have to be a believer. I don't want to be unevenly yoked.
Not for you, for the people.
Just for the people. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, I'm going to flip it. You know, whatever your faith is, be evenly yoked. You know, if you're a believer in Christ, that's what you should be aiming for. And if you're not, lead them Christian people alone. Like, you know, I'm not gonna say leave them alone because, you know, anybody could be saved, but
right.
You know, if you know that you know, like, I'm just not. Don't waste people's time. If you are a gentleman out here and you are still enjoying single life, which there is nothing wrong with that, be honest about that. Be forthcoming about that. Don't be out here playing with women's emotions, and then women stop playing with these men. You end up getting hurt in these streets. Just seen and heard a lot of stuff, and even as of recently, just don't play these games. I would also probably just say, be open. Don't be so hardcore stuck to a list. The list sometimes I find will keep you very single. Because the reality is, you know, they may not check all the boxes and prereqs of all these PhDs and degrees and all these things, or height even for that matter. Just silly stuff we get wrapped up in, you know. Get to really know a person. You will find yourself pleasantly surprised.
For the gentleman that's out there that's like, so that's what I be feeling about the job. She's not talking about if you don't have a job.
No. If I'm gainfully employed, you need to be matching that to some degree, just to some degree. And if you're not employed, you need to be working on your dream, and that dream needs to be yielding some type of fruit, meaning income. You know,
right.
We got to do this thing together because we're trying to build a team. We're not trying to, you know, carry anybody along or do this and that. And I get that the man, you know, or, you know, the head and not the tail and all of that. That's great, but God forbid something happened to said partner, you want to know that, you know, we ain't got to move and downsize and all this stuff, that, you know, we can carry the weight and be what we were called to be, which is a helpmate to one another, onto one another.
Okay. Good conversation. Good conversation. We're
I
gonna.
enjoyed this.
I look forward to you and your segments in the upcoming weeks.
Well, thank you. Me too.
Or upcoming months, I should say.
Yes.
Next week, Tasha won't be here, but I won't be in the actual studio next week. But I will be filming with Miss Brittany Jackson, which is your favorite PO on Instagram. Some of you might be followers of her. I'll be shooting that live from Hawaii. So you all tune in for that. I'll be hopefully in some nice weather behind some nice scenic waterfronts. And so she'll be on here and she'll be talking about her journey as she's a probation officer, her journey through breast cancer, surviving, and a couple of other topics. I'll let her elaborate on that next week. So you all have a good week and be good to each other, stay out of trouble, and I will be chit-chatting with you all next week.